Hi, I'm Jean Grae. I make a lot of things. I don't make comic books, but I always wanted to. Right now we're in one of my favorite places in the world, Forbidden Planet, and for some reason, these guys said I can buy whatever I want. So I bought the store. Just kidding, but I'm gonna buy a lot of things. I grabbed these kick-asses first because it was kind of a turn for me in music. Not the actual comic book, but the movie coming out. And it reminded me how much you can be an everyday superhero without having any powers. And I think it made a lot of people uncomfortable, which made me like it even more. I'm gonna get this because it's a fantastic book and we should all read books, and comic book stores don't have just comic books. We should all be reading. You too, Kanye. Let's just send all of these to Kanye. I'm gonna grab this, one because it's gonna look amazing on a coffee table and it's gonna look very cool, but also Watchmen has two characters that I realized as an adult that I gravitated to very deeply. One is Dr. Manhattan, because I feel like people really wanted him to save things, and he tried, and then he was like, you know what, forget you guys. I tried enough, I'm out. I'll build my own place. And Rorschach, I have some issues. You said to pick this up. Do you guys want anything? I got my start writing because I was making beats kind of for everyone in the hip hop community, and we, if you had a beat tape and you brought it over like a session where a bunch of rappers, where they'd be like, okay, who's got the best beats on it? So my objective was to make the best beats in the place and be like, okay, yes, I won, because I've always been really competitive. And I think it got so competitive that I realized, and another one of my friends who knew that I'd just been kind of writing anyway, was like, you should rap, you should do it, like you'd be better than them. And I'm like, well, I know I'm better than them. And then it was kind of just one day made a decision, and the question has been asked, like, when did you decide to be a rapper? And my answer was always, I never did. I haven't decided yet. It's so odd. It is exactly like going into a record store again, and you kind of wander around and you're like, it's so much overload all at once. I don't even know where to go. I just want to pick random things. This was a terrible idea. It's not going to be about the comic book hunt. It's going to be about finding things that I have no idea what they are and opening the door to something new. Again, Kanye. New books, and again, it goes back to like production and digging for records. A lot of times you just buy things based on the cover. And if it's the 70s and there's a dude with a huge fro and he's laying on a piano and you're like, I need to know what this sounds like immediately. I have a feeling about it. I know it's going to be a thing. And sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. And it's the actual time you're judging a book by its cover to be like, I think this might speak to my soul. I think it might speak to me. I think I can make something with it. And even just buying comic books, it doesn't end when you're done with the piece. It's what it inspires you to make next. Rap name-wise was always an interesting thing for me. I had a lot of really weird rap names chosen. I went with What, and I was What for a very long time because I thought it was a hilarious joke, until you realize that after years, the joke wears on you. And I was becoming a solo artist. I was leaving the rap group that I was already in, and I was talking to a very good friend of mine, Pumpkinhead, and I was like, I want to change my name. I need a good new name. And we went through a couple, and I guess it just gravitated to superheroes because it felt like that was the right thing to do, like kind of having a death and a rebirth. I think his first suggestion was Miss Marvel, and I was like, I feel like we don't have to do anything with like a miss in front of it. I feel like that's very obvious. And I remember he started to say storm. I was like, don't, come on. And then he said Jean Grae. And I was like, I think it hit me first because I enjoyed the symmetry of the name. And then I started thinking about it more and more, and I went back into my comic book head, and I was like, yes, oh, and then the story does that. A lot of me picking it was kind of, just as a rap career, kind of as just picking a stage name that I knew had a story to, that I knew I kind of had to live up to. You know, you can't really be soft as Jean Grae. You have to you gotta make it happen. Well, I'm gonna stop here and definitely get this. And I feel like you guys should know why. I won't explain it. You can look this up. I'm gonna grab Electra, because there's a project that I'm working on, the one I can't talk about, and I feel like she's not talked about enough. And it kind of draws people and superheroes together. So I'd actually like to gift that to a friend. Thanks, SYFY. Everything's Fine is a very accidental rap album that I made with Quelle Chris. We both produced on it, we both wrote it. We're making our own videos and editing them. I just shot the first one, he did the second one, which is a 7-minute long animated video, which is insane.
Body party, Sierra, Nevada. I'm Hunter's lawyer, scared of nada.
It's been so interesting because we worked on so many projects together and made so many different things, from plays to albums to movies to. It was such an interesting time to see the reaction from people and being like, I guess when there are certain messages that aren't necessarily for you, even if you're making the art. And it's just the right time for people to be able to ingest it and hear it and feel it. And Everything Fine is fine just goes back to the idea that it's something that we say. It's a response that we always give, even when things aren't fine. And as adults and at the point we are, like, it's okay to say, no, everything's not cool. I don't know how this happened. That's what happens. It's been years. Yep.
Got it. Got them all.
That's the weight of my love.
Did it in one.
Things I'm working on. There's a lot of secrets. So I always think that when you have projects that you're like, ooh, I can't talk about that. Those are the best projects. There's a thing with puppets. If you like, that's not how you do that, the instructional albums. If you don't know about that, go get them on Bandcamp and you'll get all caught up. Hi, Marvel. Can't talk about that. Jean and John, it's a live variety show that I do with my very good friend John Hodgman. In general, just watch out for the stuff I'm doing. Comic books being expensive, y'all.
You gotta put that in.
For the fairness, they were like, comic book shopping, and I did that.
You did book shopping, which is rad.
It's very nice to see you, okay?
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.